The summer air wrapped itself around Mark like a damp blanket, thick and stifling as he stood on the cracked sidewalk outside the aging town hall. Behind him, the laughter still rang out, sharp, mocking, and unmistakably dismissive. It followed the words of young Councilman Ethan, once his protege, now his critic. "He's a better leader than you'll ever be," Ethan had said with the smug certainty of youth. The crowd gathered on the patchy grass of the town square chuckled, sipping cheap lemonade from plastic cups, their smiles practiced and hollow. For 15 years, Mark had poured his heart into Willow Creek, a mill town slowly bleeding out from economic neglect. He had organized festivals to lift spirits, rebuilt the crumbling community center, and mentored fatherless teenagers who otherwise would have slipped through the cracks. He hadn't done it for thanks. But neither had he expected this. To be discarded like a broken tool, labeled irrelevant, mocked as a relic of another time. Mark gave a faint nod, glanced at his watch, and turned away. Nobody stopped him. Mayor Clara didn't notice. She was too busy smiling for the cameras and laying a manicure hand on the shoulder of Tom Bradley, the slick newcomer with city charm and glittering promises of a prosperous future. The crowd leaned toward them like flowers to the sun. Behind them, the sun itself was slipping below the horizon, painting the sky in deep hues of orange and purple. Mark walked his old, dented pickup, the tires crunching gravel as he pulled away. He didn't look back. The grief had come earlier, quiet and private, when he'd uncovered the truth, not just about Clara and Tom, but about the town itself, a place he'd loved more than it had ever loved him back. He'd grieved not betrayal, but the loss of a dream. 15 years ago, he had returned to Willow Creek after a decade in the city working as a software engineer. The mill had just closed, leaving storefronts boarded up and hope in short supply. But Mark saw more than decay. He saw potential. He traded skyscrapers and six-figure offers for a drafty desk in the community center, surviving on coffee and determination. He wrote grant proposals deep into the night, held job fairs in school gymnasiums, and taught coding to teenagers using borrowed laptops. He turned abandoned lots into parks and turned doubters into believers. But time and familiarity have a way of breeding contempt. The same people who once applauded his efforts began to roll their eyes. Clara's economic development initiatives came with no visible results, unless you counted the perfume that lingered long after closed-door meetings. And Ethan, once a bright-eyed boy who called him Mr. Thompson with respect, now spoke his name like a joke. Mark had stayed silent, hoping integrity would be enough. But silence, he realized too late, can look like surrender. The truth arrived during a stormy budget meeting. The rain hammered the roof as thunder rolled across the hills. Clara had left her laptop open. Mark's eyes had fallen on the screen by accident or fate. The messages were damning. Emails from Tom Bradley, bank transfers, false invoices, siphon grant funds, fake bids, plans to bulldoze the town park and replace it with high-end condos. "Mark won't fight back," Clara had written. "He's too soft." She was right about one thing. He didn't fight with noise. He fought with strategy. For 6 months, Mark worked quietly. He compiled evidence. Every receipt, every forged document. He met with state auditors under aliases. He contacted former colleagues, securing donations for a tech hub. He found a forensic accountant and a small-town lawyer willing to work pro bono. He visited residents one by one, shop owners, teachers, parents, gathering support in hushed voices over kitchen tables. While Clara and Tom planned their triumphant announcement for Founders Day, Mark was laying the final stones of a different future. Founders Day arrived like any other, balloons, barbecue, and speeches from a makeshift stage. Clara beamed in her tailored suit, her hand resting possessively on Tom's arm as he spoke of revitalization and modern prosperity. Ethan introduced him like a celebrity. "Tom's the future," he declared. 15 years of Mark's dreams didn't get us anywhere. Clara laughed, too loudly. Mark checked his watch. 6:45, right on schedule. At 7 p.m., state investigators entered town hall. By 8 o'clock, local news stations reported a corruption scandal unfolding in Willow Creek. By 9 o'clock, Tom's consulting firm was revealed to be a front. No office, no employees, just a name and a bank account. Clara's laptop was in evidence, her emails public record. The next morning, Mark sat on the stone steps of the community center with a mug of strong coffee. The rising sun spilled golden light across the sleepy town. He read the headlines without smiling. Mayor implicated in embezzlement scandal, grant fraud exposed in Willow Creek. Clara's name was everywhere. Tom had vanished. His phone buzzed again and again, texts from people who had barely looked at him the day before. Didn't know you were still fighting, Mark. We should have listened. You okay? He didn't reply. Let them talk. Let them wonder. Ethan hadn't reached out. He probably wouldn't. Not yet. At 20, it's easy to be dazzled by charm and rhetoric. But one day, Ethan would see the public records. He'd learn who funded the library, who saved the park, who stayed up writing proposals while others plotted takeovers. Maybe he'd understand. Maybe not. Mark didn't need him to. The tech hub opened a week before, powered by solar panels paid for with that last successful grant. Kids now filled the rooms with laughter and the click of keyboards. The park had been saved, its swing sets and picnic tables untouched. The old upright piano in the music room had survived, too. Mark kept it, and sometimes in the evenings he played a little, slow, uncertain notes that somehow made him feel whole again. People ask what redemption feels like. It's not applause or newspaper columns. It's not forgiveness from those who turned their backs. Redemption is quieter. It's a child learning to code in a room that wouldn't exist if you hadn't stayed. It's families gathering in a park that nearly vanished. It's the knowledge that, when the town began to stumble, you didn't shout, you built. Mark didn't fight for revenge. He built for the ones who still believed. And when the time came, he didn't stay to bask in vindication. He simply walked forward. Because sometimes the most powerful kind of redemption is giving your all to a place that once doubted you, until they see what you've made and realize they never really knew your worth.